Story 1. Ghosts of the Great Wall. The ancient stones of the Great Wall of China have witnessed countless tales over the centuries, but none as chilling as the story that befell journalist Mei Lin. As a seasoned reporter for the Beijing Daily, Mei Lin had covered her fair share of mysterious events, but nothing could have prepared her for the otherworldly adventure that awaited her along the winding expanse of the Great Wall. It all began with a cryptic message from an anonymous source, urging Mei Lin to investigate a series of supernatural occurrences near the remote Jinshanling section of the wall. Intrigued and always ready for a good story, Mei Lin packed her bags and set off, her curiosity piqued by the promise of an ancient prophecy coming to fruition. As she arrived at the small village nestled at the base of the Jinshanling Mountains, Mei Lin was greeted by an eerie silence. The villagers seemed hesitant to speak about the strange happenings, their eyes filled with a mixture of fear and reverence. Undeterred, Mei Lin began her investigation, interviewing the few brave souls who dared to whisper about the restless spirits that wandered the Great Wall at night. One old man, his face weathered by the passage of time, spoke of an ancient legend that had been passed down through generations. "They say," he began, his voice trembling, "that every 500 years, the ghosts of the soldiers who died building the Great Wall return to seek vengeance on the living. And this year, the prophecy is set to come true once more." Mei Lin listened intently, her reporter's instincts telling her that there was more to this story than mere superstition. She decided to venture up to the Great Wall herself, determined to uncover the truth behind the ghostly sightings. As the sun began to set, casting an eerie orange glow across the ancient stones, Mei Lin found herself alone atop the wall. The wind whistled through the cracks, carrying with it the faint echoes of distant cries. Suddenly, a dense fog rolled in, enveloping her in a blanket of mist. Through the haze, she could make out the shadowy figures of soldiers, their armor glinting in the fading light. Mei Lin's heart raced as she realized that these were no ordinary apparitions. The ghosts seemed to be searching for something, their movements purposeful and determined. She followed them cautiously, her camera at the ready, desperate to capture evidence of this incredible phenomenon. As the night wore on, Mei Lin found herself drawn deeper into the mystery. The ghostly soldiers led her to a hidden chamber within the wall, where she discovered an ancient scroll bearing a chilling prophecy. The prophecy spoke of a powerful artifact buried deep within the Great Wall that held the key to controlling the restless spirits. Mei Lin knew she had to find the artifact before it fell into the wrong hands. She raced against time, deciphering clues left behind by the ghosts and battling her own growing fear. Finally, as dawn began to break, she discovered the artifact, a small, intricately carved stone that pulsed with an otherworldly energy. With the artifact in her possession, Mei Lin confronted the ghostly soldiers, holding the stone aloft. To her amazement, the spirits bowed before her, their anguished cries fading into the morning mist. She had broken the curse, setting the restless souls free at last. Mei Lin returned to Beijing, her story of ghostly encounters and ancient prophecies making headlines around the world. But for her, the true reward was the knowledge that she had played a part in unraveling one of the Great Wall's most enduring mysteries. And as she looked out over the city, she knew that her adventures were far from over, for there were always more secrets waiting to be uncovered and more stories waiting to be told. As the media frenzy surrounding Mei Lin's incredible story began to subside, she found herself haunted by the memories of her ghostly encounter at the Great Wall. The ancient artifact she had discovered pulsed with a strange energy, seeming to beckon her back to the mysteries that lay hidden within the wall's depths. Unable to shake the feeling that her journey was far from over, Mei Lin delved deeper into the legend of the ghostly soldiers. She pored over ancient texts and consulted with renowned historians, piecing together a tapestry of secrets that had lain dormant for centuries. As she dug deeper, Mei Lin uncovered whispers of a powerful sorcerer who had once wielded the artifact's magic to control the spirits of the Great Wall. The sorcerer, it was said, had been buried alive within the wall as punishment for his dark deeds, his tomb sealed by the very stone that now rested in Mei Lin's possession. Determined to unravel the sorcerer's secrets, Mei Lin returned to the Jinshanling section of the Great Wall, the artifact hidden safely in her pocket. As she walked along the ancient stones, she could feel the weight of history pressing down upon her, the echoes of long-forgotten battles and the whispers of restless souls. Suddenly, a figure emerged from the shadows, an old man with piercing eyes and a knowing smile. He introduced himself as Li Wei, a guardian of the Great Wall's secrets. Li Wei had been watching Mei Lin, he said, and he knew of her quest to uncover the truth behind the ghostly soldiers and the sorcerer's tomb. Together, Mei Lin and Li Wei ventured deep into the heart of the Great Wall, following a series of cryptic clues left behind by the sorcerer himself. They navigated treacherous passages and crumbling staircases, their path lit only by the eerie glow of the artifact in Mei Lin's hand. As they descended deeper into the wall, the air grew thick with the weight of centuries, and the whispers of the dead grew louder. Finally, they reached a chamber sealed by a massive stone door, the sorcerer's final resting place. With trembling hands, Mei Lin placed the artifact into a small recess in the door, and the stone slowly ground open, revealing a room filled with ancient treasures and the sarcophagus of the sorcerer himself. But as they stepped inside, the chamber began to tremble, the walls shaking with a force that seemed to come from beyond the grave. The sorcerer's spirit, it seemed, was not content to rest in peace. Mei Lin and Li Wei found themselves locked in a desperate battle against the sorcerer's dark magic, the artifact their only hope of vanquishing the evil that had lain dormant for so long. The chamber filled with the crackle of supernatural energy, ghostly soldiers materializing from the very stone itself to aid the sorcerer in his fight. But Mei Lin's resolve never wavered. With the power of the artifact and the strength of her own spirit, she banished the sorcerer's ghost back to the underworld, sealing his tomb once more with the help of the ghostly soldiers who had once been his thralls. As the chamber grew still, Mei Lin and Li Wei emerged from the depths of the Great Wall, the artifact now a simple stone, its power spent. They looked out over the misty mountains, the weight of their experience etched upon their souls. For Mei Lin, the journey had been one of self-discovery as much as supernatural mystery. She had faced her fears and emerged stronger, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. And as she looked to the future, she knew that the ghosts of the Great Wall would always be a part of her, a reminder of the incredible adventure she had undertaken and the unbreakable spirit that had seen her through. As Mei Lin and Li Wei made their way back to the village at the base of the Jinshanling Mountains, they were greeted by a scene of chaos and confusion. Villagers crowded around them, their faces etched with fear and uncertainty. They spoke of strange occurrences that had begun to plague the village in the days since Mei Lin's first visit. Ghostly apparitions wandering the streets at night, eerie whispers carried on the wind, and a sense of unease that permeated the very air. Mei Lin and Li Wei exchanged a knowing glance, realizing that their work was far from over. The sorcerer's tomb may have been sealed, but it seemed that his dark legacy lived on, threatening the peace and safety of the innocent villagers. Determined to get to the bottom of these new mysteries, Mei Lin and Li Wei began to investigate, speaking with the villagers and scouring the area for clues. As they pieced together the fragments of the puzzle, a disturbing picture began to emerge. It seemed that the sorcerer, in his final act of defiance, had placed a curse upon the village, tying the fate of its inhabitants to the ghostly soldiers of the Great Wall. The soldiers, once freed from the sorcerer's control, now wandered the village at night, their spirits restless and tormented. Mei Lin and Li Wei knew that they had to break the curse before it consumed the village entirely. They delved into ancient tomes and consulted with wise elders, searching for a way to lay the ghostly soldiers to rest once and for all. As the days turned into weeks, and the village descended further into despair, Mei Lin and Li Wei finally uncovered the key to breaking the curse. They would need to perform a sacred ritual at the summit of the Jinshanling Mountains, using the power of the elements to release the soldiers' spirits and banish the sorcerer's malevolent influence. Under the light of a full moon, Mei Lin and Li Wei made their way up the winding path to the mountain's peak, the villagers following close behind. The air crackled with supernatural energy as they began the ritual, their voices rising in an ancient chant. As the ritual reached its climax, the ghostly soldiers appeared once more, their forms shimmering in the moonlight. But this time, instead of anger and vengeance, Their faces were filled with a sense of peace and relief. One by one, they faded away, their spirits finally free to rest. With the curse lifted and the village saved, Mei Lin and Li Wei knew that their journey had come to an end. They bid farewell to the grateful villagers, knowing that they would always be remembered as the heroes who had saved Jinshanling from the ghosts of the Great Wall. As they made their way back to Beijing, Mei Lin couldn't help but reflect on the incredible journey she had undertaken. She had set out to uncover a mystery, but in the end, she had found so much more: a deeper understanding of herself, a newfound respect for the power of the past, and an unbreakable bond with the man who had fought beside her. And though she knew that her adventures at the Great Wall had come to an end, Mei Lin also knew that her story was far from over. For as long as there were mysteries to uncover and stories to be told, she would be there, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, armed with the knowledge that the human spirit could triumph over even the darkest of forces. Here is the continuation of the story. As Mei Lin settled back into her life in Beijing, she couldn't shake the feeling that her experiences at the Great Wall had changed her in some fundamental way. The mysteries she had unraveled, the spirits she had laid to rest, and the bond she had forged with Li Wei had left an indelible mark on her soul. She threw herself into her work at the Beijing Daily, but found that the mundane stories of city life paled in comparison to the supernatural adventures she had faced. She longed for something more, a new challenge to test her skills and her spirit. As if in answer to her unspoken desires, a new mystery soon presented itself. Rumors began to circulate of strange occurrences at the Forbidden City, the ancient palace complex at the heart of Beijing. Visitors spoke of ghostly figures wandering the halls, of ancient artifacts that seemed to move of their own accord, and of a sense of unease that permeated the very stones of the palace. Intrigued, Mei Lin knew that she had to investigate. She reached out to Li Wei, who had returned to his work as a guardian of China's ancient sites, and together they began to delve into the secrets of the Forbidden City. As they explored the palace complex by night, Mei Lin and Li Wei encountered a web of intrigue that stretched back centuries. They discovered tales of emperors who had dabbled in dark magic, of concubines who had met mysterious ends, and of a powerful artifact that was said to grant its wielder control over the spirits of the dead. The deeper they dug, the more dangerous their investigation became. They found themselves pitted against a shadowy cabal of corrupt officials and ancient sorcerers, all of whom sought to harness the power of the artifact for their own nefarious ends. Through it all, Mei Lin and Li Wei relied on their wits, their courage, and their unwavering bond to see them through. They battled dark spirits in the halls of the palace, raced against time to decipher ancient codes, and ultimately confronted the malevolent force at the heart of the mystery. In the end, they emerged victorious, the artifact destroyed, and the spirits of the Forbidden City laid to rest at last. But for Mei Lin, the true victory lay in the realization that she had found her true calling. She knew now that she was destined to uncover the secrets of China's ancient past, to bring the truth to light, and to protect the innocent from the darkness that lurked in the shadows. As she looked out over the sprawling expanse of Beijing, Mei Lin felt a sense of purpose and clarity that she had never known before. She had started this journey as a seeker of mysteries, but she had emerged as something more, a guardian of the past, a warrior against the darkness, and a true hero of China. And with Li Wei by her side, she knew that no mystery was too great, no challenge too daunting. Together, they would face whatever the future held, ready to unravel the next great adventure that awaited them. Story 2. The Lost Tomb of Qin Shihuang. In the heart of Xi'an, China, a young archaeologist named Li Wei stood at the entrance of a newly discovered tomb. The air was thick with anticipation as he and his team prepared to enter the ancient structure, which they believed to be the long-lost tomb of Qin Shihuang, the first emperor of China. As Li Wei stepped into the tomb, the musty smell of centuries-old air filled his nostrils. The beam of his flashlight cut through the darkness, revealing intricate carvings on the walls depicting the emperor's life and his many conquests. The team moved deeper into the tomb, their footsteps echoing in the eerie silence. Suddenly, Li Wei's light fell upon a large chamber filled with countless terracotta warriors, each one unique in its facial features and weaponry. The sight was breathtaking, and the team knew they had stumbled upon something truly remarkable. As they explored the chamber, Li Wei noticed a peculiar statue standing apart from the others. It depicted a man with a cruel smile, his eyes seeming to follow the archaeologist as he moved. Li Wei approached the statue cautiously, his heart pounding in his chest. Suddenly, the ground beneath him gave way, and he found himself falling into a hidden chamber below. The fall knocked the wind out of him, but as he regained his senses, he realized he was surrounded by piles of gold and precious artifacts. In the center of the room stood a large sarcophagus, its surface adorned with intricate carvings and precious gems. Li Wei approached it slowly, his hand trembling as he reached out to touch its surface. As his fingers brushed against the cold stone, a gust of wind swept through the chamber, extinguishing his flashlight. In the darkness, Li Wei heard a voice whispering in an ancient dialect he couldn't understand. Suddenly, the sarcophagus began to crack open, and a blinding light filled the room. Li Wei shielded his eyes, his heart racing as he realized he was in the presence of something truly otherworldly. As the light faded, Li Wei found himself face to face with the spirit of Qin Shihuang himself. The emperor's ghostly form hovered above the sarcophagus, his eyes fixed upon the young archaeologist. "You have disturbed my eternal slumber," the emperor spoke, his voice echoing through the chamber. "For this transgression, you shall pay with your life." Li Wei stumbled backward, his mind reeling as he tried to comprehend what was happening. He had always been a man of science, but now he found himself confronted with the supernatural. The emperor's spirit began to advance upon him, his ghostly hands reaching out to grasp Li Wei's throat. The archaeologist fumbled for his radio, desperate to call for help, but it was useless in the depths of the tomb. As the emperor's fingers closed around his neck, Li Wei felt his life force draining away. His vision began to blur, and he knew he was on the brink of death. But in that moment, Li Wei remembered the ancient talisman his grandfather had given him before he passed away. The old man had claimed it held the power to protect against evil spirits, and Li Wei had always worn it as a lucky charm. With his last ounce of strength, Li Wei grabbed the talisman and held it up to the emperor's spirit. The ghostly form recoiled, hissing in pain as the talisman's power forced it back into the sarcophagus. Li Wei collapsed to the ground, gasping for air as he watched the sarcophagus seal itself once more. He knew he had narrowly escaped death, but he also knew that the tomb's secrets were too dangerous to be revealed to the world. With a heavy heart, Li Wei made his way back to the surface, sealing the entrance to the tomb behind him. He knew he would never speak of what he had seen, but the memory of his encounter with the emperor's spirit would haunt him for the rest of his days. As he emerged into the sunlight, Li Wei looked out over the vast expanse of Xi'an, knowing that beneath its bustling streets lay countless secrets waiting to be uncovered. But for now, the lost tomb of Qin Shihuang would remain a mystery, its forbidden treasures hidden away from the world forever. Li Wei returned to his small apartment in Xi'an, his mind still reeling from the events that had transpired in the emperor's tomb. He sat down at his desk, staring blankly at the ancient talisman in his hand. The intricate carvings seemed to dance in the lamplight, and for a moment, Li Wei could almost hear the whispers of the past. He knew he should report his findings to the authorities, but something held him back. The tomb's secrets were too powerful, too dangerous to be shared with the world. And yet, he couldn't shake the feeling that he had stumbled upon something truly remarkable. As the days turned into weeks, Li Wei found himself consumed by the mystery of the tomb. He spent countless hours in the library, poring over ancient texts and manuscripts, searching for any clues that might shed light on the emperor's final resting place. But the more he searched, the more he realized that the tomb's secrets were closely guarded, hidden away in the mists of time. The few references he found were vague and cryptic, hinting at a power beyond mortal understanding. One night, as Li Wei sat hunched over his desk, a knock at the door startled him from his thoughts. He opened the door to find a woman standing there, her face obscured by a hood. "Li Wei," she said, her voice low and urgent. "You must come with me. There are those who seek the emperor's tomb, and they will stop at nothing to find it." Li Wei hesitated for a moment, but something in the woman's voice compelled him to follow. She led him through the winding streets of Xi'an, down narrow alleys and past crumbling temples. Finally, They arrived at a small, nondescript building on the outskirts of the city. The woman ushered Li Wei inside, where he found himself in a dimly lit room filled with ancient artifacts and texts. "We are the guardians of the tomb," the woman said, lowering her hood to reveal a beautiful face etched with wisdom beyond her years. "For centuries, we have kept the emperor's final resting place hidden from the world, protecting its secrets from those who would use them for evil." Li Wei listened in awe as the woman recounted the history of the tomb and the powerful magic that lay within. She spoke of an ancient prophecy that foretold the coming of a great warrior who would unlock the tomb's secrets and use its power to rule the world. "The prophecy speaks of a man with a talisman," the woman said, her eyes fixed on the ancient artifact in Li Wei's hand. "A man who will either save the world or destroy it." Li Wei felt a chill run down his spine as he realized the gravity of his situation. He had always believed in the power of science and reason, but now he found himself caught up in a world of magic and prophecy. As the woman finished her tale, Li Wei knew what he had to do. He would use his knowledge of archaeology and history to unravel the tomb's secrets, and he would do whatever it took to keep its power from falling into the wrong hands. But even as he set out on his quest, Li Wei couldn't shake the feeling that he was being watched. He knew that there were others who sought the tomb's power, and that they would stop at nothing to claim it for themselves. As he delved deeper into the mystery, Li Wei found himself drawn into a world of ancient magic and forgotten lore. He battled demons and sorcerers, unearthed long-lost artifacts, and raced against time to unlock the tomb's final secrets. In the end, it was his unwavering determination and the power of the ancient talisman that allowed him to triumph over the forces of evil. And as he stood before the emperor's sarcophagus, the ancient prophecy fulfilled at last, Li Wei knew that his life would never be the same. For he had become the guardian of an ancient power, a power that would shape the course of history for generations to come. And though the road ahead would be long and treacherous, Li Wei knew that he would never rest until the tomb's secrets were safe once more, hidden away from the world forever. As Li Wei stepped out of the hidden chamber, he felt a sense of purpose wash over him. He knew that his journey was far from over, and that the true test of his resolve was yet to come. He made his way back to the city, his mind racing with the implications of what he had learned. The guardians of the tomb had entrusted him with a sacred duty, and he knew that he could not fail them. In the days that followed, Li Wei threw himself into his work with a newfound intensity. He scoured ancient texts and manuscripts, searching for any clues that might lead him to the tomb's final secrets. But even as he worked tirelessly to unravel the mystery, Li Wei couldn't shake the feeling that he was being watched. He began to notice strange figures lurking in the shadows, their eyes always seeming to follow him wherever he went. One night, as he walked home from the library, Li Wei was suddenly attacked by a group of hooded assailants. They came at him from all sides, their weapons glinting in the moonlight. But Li Wei was not a man to be taken by surprise. He had spent years studying the ancient arts of combat, and he moved with a fluid grace that belied his scholarly demeanor. He dodged and weaved, his fists and feet striking with lightning precision. The attackers fell one by one, until only their leader remained. The man was tall and lean, with eyes that glinted with malice. He circled Li Wei warily, his sword held at the ready. "You have something that belongs to us," he hissed, his voice dripping with venom. "Hand over the talisman, and we may yet spare your life." But Li Wei only smiled, his hand closing around the ancient artifact that hung from his neck. "You will never have this talisman," he said, his voice calm and steady. "It is a sacred trust, and I will defend it with my life." The man lunged forward, his sword flashing in the darkness. But Li Wei was ready for him. He sidestepped the blow and struck out with a powerful kick, sending the man flying backwards into the wall. As the attacker slumped to the ground, Li Wei knew that he had won more than just a physical battle. He had proven himself worthy of the Guardian's trust, and he knew that he would stop at nothing to protect the tomb's secrets. In the weeks that followed, Li Wei worked tirelessly to decipher the clues that he had uncovered. He traveled to ancient ruins and hidden temples, always one step ahead of his mysterious pursuers. And then, on a moonless night deep in the heart of the Gobi Desert, Li Wei finally found what he had been searching for. The entrance to the emperor's tomb lay hidden beneath the sands, its secrets guarded by a complex network of traps and puzzles. But Li Wei was not deterred. With the power of the talisman and his own cunning intellect, he navigated the tomb's defenses and made his way deeper into its depths. And there, in a chamber filled with golden light, Li Wei came face to face with the emperor himself. The ancient ruler lay installed upon a throne of jade, his body preserved by the mystical energies that suffused the tomb. As Li Wei approached the throne, the emperor's eyes suddenly snapped open. They fixed upon the archaeologist with an intensity that seemed to pierce his very soul. "You have come far, Li Wei," the emperor said, his voice echoing through the chamber. "But the true test of your worth lies ahead." And with those words, the emperor vanished, leaving Li Wei alone in the heart of the tomb. The archaeologist knew that he had come too far to turn back now, and that the fate of the world itself lay in his hands. He took a deep breath, his hand closing around the talisman that had brought him this far. And then, with a heart full of courage and a mind sharpened by the wisdom of the ancients, Li Wei stepped forward into the unknown, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. As Li Wei ventured deeper into the tomb, he found himself in a labyrinth of chambers and passageways, each more treacherous than the last. The air grew thick and heavy, and the walls seemed to pulse with an otherworldly energy. But Li Wei pressed on, his determination never wavering. He solved riddles and navigated traps, using his knowledge of ancient history to guide him through the tomb's many challenges. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, Li Wei found himself standing before a massive door of solid gold. The door was adorned with intricate carvings and inscriptions, and Li Wei knew that it could only be opened by one who possessed the emperor's talisman. With trembling hands, Li Wei raised the talisman to the door. The ancient artifact began to glow with a soft, pulsing light, and the door slowly swung open, revealing a chamber beyond. As Li Wei stepped into the chamber, he found himself surrounded by treasures beyond his wildest dreams. Gold and jewels glittered in the light of ancient lanterns, and the walls were adorned with murals depicting the emperor's many conquests. But Li Wei's attention was drawn to the center of the room, where a massive sarcophagus lay upon a pedestal of jade. The sarcophagus was covered in intricate carvings and inscriptions, and Li Wei knew that it contained the emperor's mortal remains. As he approached the sarcophagus, Li Wei felt a sudden chill run down his spine. He turned to see a figure emerging from the shadows, a figure that he recognized all too well. It was the leader of the hooded assailants who had attacked him in the streets of Xi'an, the man who had sought the talisman for his own nefarious purposes. "I must admit, I underestimated you, Li Wei," the man said, his voice dripping with malice. "But you have led me to the greatest prize of all, and for that, I must thank you." The man raised his hand, and Li Wei saw that he held a weapon of ancient design, a weapon that pulsed with the same otherworldly energy that suffused the tomb. But Li Wei was not afraid. He had come too far to be deterred by the likes of this man, and he knew that the power of the talisman would protect him. With a cry of defiance, Li Wei charged forward, his fists and feet striking with lightning precision. The man fought back with all the fury of a cornered animal, but Li Wei's skill and determination proved too much for him. In the end, the man lay defeated at Li Wei's feet, his weapon shattered and his spirit broken. Li Wei stood over him, the talisman glowing softly in his hand. "You have lost," Li Wei said, his voice calm and steady. "The emperor's secrets will remain hidden, and the world will be safe from your evil." With those words, Li Wei turned back to the sarcophagus. He knew that he could not take the emperor's treasures for himself, for they belonged to the ages. But as he laid his hand upon the ancient stone, Li Wei felt a strange sensation wash over him. It was as if the emperor himself was speaking to him, whispering secrets that had been lost to time. And in that moment, Li Wei knew that his journey was not yet over. He had been chosen by the emperor to be the guardian of his legacy, to protect the tomb's secrets from those who would seek to use them for their own gain. With a heavy heart, Li Wei sealed the tomb once more, knowing that he would spend the rest of his days watching over it. But he also knew that he had been granted a great honor, and that the emperor's spirit would guide him always. As he emerged from the tomb into the desert night, Li Wei looked up at the stars, feeling a sense of peace wash over him. He had faced his destiny, and he had emerged victorious. And though the road ahead would be long and difficult, Li Wei knew that he would never waver in his duty, for he was the guardian of the emperor's tomb, and he would protect its secrets until the end of his days. Li Wei returned to Xi'an a changed man. The experiences he had undergone in the emperor's tomb had left an indelible mark upon his soul, and he knew that he would never be the same again. As he walked the bustling streets of the city, Li Wei couldn't help but feel a sense of detachment from the world around him. The people he passed seemed to move in a different reality, one untouched by the ancient mysteries that he had encountered. But Li Wei knew that he could not dwell on the past forever. He had a duty to fulfill, and he would not rest until he had seen it through. In the weeks and months that followed, Li Wei threw himself into his work with a renewed sense of purpose. He continued his research into the emperor's tomb, poring over ancient texts and manuscripts in search of clues that might aid him in his quest. At the same time, he began to train his body and mind in the ways of the ancient warriors. He studied the art of kung fu, honing his skills until he moved with the grace and precision of a master. And all the while, Li Wei kept a watchful eye on the tomb, ensuring that its secrets remained safe from those who would seek to exploit them. Years turned into decades, and Li Wei grew old and gray. But his dedication to his duty never wavered, and he remained ever vigilant in his protection of the emperor's legacy. And then, on a night of great import, Li Wei received a vision from the emperor himself. The ancient ruler appeared to him in a dream, his form shimmering with an otherworldly light. "Li Wei," the emperor said, his voice echoing through the vaults of Li Wei's mind. "You have served me well these many years, and for that, you have my eternal gratitude." Li Wei bowed his head in reverence, tears streaming down his weathered face. "It has been my honor to serve you, my emperor," he said, his voice trembling with emotion. The emperor smiled, his eyes filled with a wisdom that spanned the ages. "But now, my faithful guardian, your task is complete. The tomb's secrets will be safe in the hands of those who come after you, and you may rest in the knowledge that you have fulfilled your destiny." With those words, the emperor faded from view, leaving Li Wei alone in the silence of his dreams. When Li Wei awoke, he knew that his time had come. He gathered his few possessions and set out into the desert, his heart filled with a sense of peace and purpose. And there, in the heart of the Gobi, Li Wei built himself a simple shrine, a place where he could meditate and commune with the spirits of the past. For the rest of his days, Li Wei lived in solitude, his mind and body attuned to the ancient energies that flowed through the earth. And when at last he passed from this world, he did so with a smile upon his face, knowing that he had lived a life of honor and service. But the legend of Li Wei did not die with him. For generations, the people of China whispered his name in reverence, telling tales of the great guardian who had protected the emperor's tomb from all who would seek to despoil it. And even now, in the modern world of steel and concrete, there are those who say that Li Wei's spirit still watches over the tomb, ensuring that its secrets remain forever hidden from the eyes of the unworthy. For Li Wei was more than just a man. He was a symbol of the enduring power of the human spirit, a testament to the courage and sacrifice of those who would give their lives in service of a greater cause. And though the world may change and the sands of time may shift, the legacy of Li Wei will endure, a shining beacon of hope and inspiration for all who would seek to unravel the mysteries of the past. As the years turned into centuries, the legend of Li Wei and the emperor's tomb faded into obscurity, becoming little more than a footnote in the annals of history. But for those few who still remembered the tale, it remained a powerful symbol of the enduring strength of the human spirit. Generations came and went, and the world changed beyond recognition. The ancient city of Xi'an grew into a sprawling metropolis, its streets filled with the clamor of modern life. And yet, deep beneath the earth, the emperor's tomb remained untouched, its secrets guarded by the silent sentinels of stone. But there were those who had not forgotten the legend of Li Wei. In the darkened corners of the city, whispers began to circulate of a great power hidden within the tomb, a power that could grant untold riches and dominion over all of China. And so, a new generation of tomb raiders emerged, determined to succeed where their predecessors had failed. They were a motley crew of adventurers and rogues, each driven by their own desires and ambitions. Among them was a young woman named Jia, a descendant of Li Wei himself. Raised on the tales of her ancestors' heroism, Jia had grown up dreaming of the day when she might follow in his footsteps and lay claim to the emperor's secrets. Armed with little more than her wits and a tattered map, Jia set out into the desert, determined to succeed where so many had failed. But the tomb was not easily found, and Jia soon found herself lost in a labyrinth of sand and rock. For days, she wandered the barren wastes, her supplies dwindling and her hope fading. But just as she was about to give up, Jia stumbled upon a hidden oasis, a lush paradise hidden deep within the heart of the desert. There, she met an old man named Lao, a sage who had spent his life studying the mysteries of the past. Lao took Jia under his wing, teaching her the secrets of the ancient ways and guiding her on her quest to find the tomb. Together, Jia and Lao set out into the desert once more, following the clues left behind by Li Wei centuries before. And after many trials and tribulations, they finally found what they had been seeking, the entrance to the emperor's tomb hidden beneath the sands. But as they prepared to enter the tomb, they were confronted by a group of rival tomb raiders, led by a ruthless warlord named Xiang. Xiang demanded that Jia hand over the map and the talisman, claiming that the tomb's secrets were his birthright. Jia refused, and a fierce battle ensued, with Jia and Lao fighting side by side against Xiang and his minions. In the end, Jia emerged victorious, but at a terrible cost. Lao had been mortally wounded, and with his dying breath, he entrusted Jia with the task of protecting the tomb. With a heavy heart, Jia entered the tomb, marveling at the wonders that lay within. But she knew that she could not linger, for the tomb's secrets were too dangerous to be left unguarded. And so, Jia took up the mantle of the guardian, just as Li Wei had done centuries before. She sealed the tomb once more, ensuring that its secrets would remain hidden from the world. For the rest of her days, Jia watched over the tomb, just as her ancestor had done. And when at last she passed from this world, she did so with the knowledge that she had fulfilled her destiny, and that the emperor's legacy would endure forevermore. And so, the legend of the emperor's tomb lived on, a testament to the power of the human spirit and the enduring mysteries of the past. And though the world may change and the sands of time may shift, the secrets of the tomb will always be protected, guarded by the eternal spirit of the guardian. Story 3. The Lost City of Z. Deep in the heart of the Amazon rainforest, a tale of mystery and adventure begins to unfold. Dr. Ethan Blackwell, a renowned archaeologist with a thirst for discovery, embarks on a perilous journey to uncover the secrets of a fabled lost city known only as Z. Blackwell's fascination with the city began years ago when he stumbled upon the journals of Percy Fawcett, a British explorer who vanished without a trace in 1925 while searching for Z. The journals spoke of an ancient civilization hidden deep within the jungle, a city of gold and wonders beyond imagination. Determined to pick up where Fawcett left off, Blackwell assembles a team of experts: Dr. Lila Alvarez, a brilliant anthropologist, Jack Hudson, a rugged ex-military survival specialist, and Professor Harold Finch, a cryptographer with a knack for deciphering ancient languages. As they venture deeper into the dense, unforgiving jungle, the team faces countless challenges. Poisonous snakes, fierce jaguars, and disease-carrying insects lurk in every shadow. The oppressive heat and humidity sap their strength, while the tangled vines and thorny underbrush impede their progress. Despite the hardships, Blackwell remains undeterred. He pores over Fawcett's journals, searching for clues to the lost city's location. The team follows ancient trails and river routes, guided by cryptic symbols etched into stone markers. As they press on, strange occurrences begin to plague the expedition. Eerie whispers echo through the trees at night, and ghostly figures flicker in the periphery of their campfire's light. The team's native guide, a wise old man named Takuri, warns them of the jungle's spirits and the curse that befalls those who seek Z. Undaunted, Blackwell and his team finally reach a hidden valley deep in the heart of the Amazon. There, rising from the mist-shrouded jungle, stands an ancient city of breathtaking beauty and mystery. Towering pyramids, ornate temples, and gleaming golden statues bear witness to a civilization lost to time. As they explore the ruins, the team makes astonishing discoveries. Intricate hieroglyphs and sophisticated astronomical alignments hint at a society far more advanced than any previously known in the region. But with each revelation comes a growing sense of unease. Takuri's warnings prove true as the team is beset by a series of inexplicable events. Strange illnesses, vivid hallucinations, and terrifying apparitions torment them. Blackwell becomes convinced that the city is guarded by a powerful supernatural force, determined to protect its secrets. In a desperate race against time, the team must unravel the mysteries of Z before the city's ancient guardians consume them. They discover a hidden chamber beneath the central pyramid, filled with priceless artifacts and a cryptic message left by Fawcett himself. As they attempt to decipher the message, a final, terrifying revelation awaits them. The lost city of Z is not merely a forgotten relic of the past, but a gateway to a realm beyond human understanding. The team must confront the city's dark legacy and decide the fate of its secrets. In a climactic battle against the supernatural forces that guard Z, Blackwell and his team must make the ultimate sacrifice. They realize that some mysteries are meant to remain hidden and that the pursuit of knowledge can come at a terrible price. As the story reaches its conclusion, the lost city of Z disappears once more into the mists of the Amazon, its secrets forever sealed. Blackwell and the survivors of the expedition emerge from the jungle, forever changed by their brush with the unknown. The tale of the lost city of Z becomes a legend, whispered among the indigenous tribes and passed down through generations of explorers. It serves as a testament to the enduring human spirit, the thirst for discovery, and the mysteries that lie waiting in the world's uncharted corners. As the expedition team delves deeper into the lost city of Z, they begin to uncover more of its secrets and the mysterious civilization that once inhabited it. Dr. Blackwell and Dr. Alvarez spend hours studying the intricate hieroglyphs and carvings that adorn the walls of the ancient temples, attempting to decipher their meaning. Meanwhile, Jack Hudson and Professor Finch explore the city's outskirts, searching for any signs of danger or clues to the city's demise. They discover an ancient aqueduct system, marveling at the advanced engineering capabilities of the long-lost civilization. As night falls, the team gathers around the campfire to discuss their findings. Dr. Alvarez shares her theory that the city was once the center of a powerful empire, with trade routes stretching across the continent. Professor Finch reveals that he has begun to decipher a series of glyphs that hint at a great cataclysm that befell the city centuries ago. Takuri, the native guide, listens intently to their discussions, a look of concern etched upon his weathered face. He warns them once again of the dangers that lurk within the city, speaking of ancient curses and malevolent spirits that guard its secrets. Despite the warnings, Dr. Blackwell remains determined to uncover the truth behind the lost city of Z. He pores over Fawcett's journals late into the night, searching for any clues that might lead them to the heart of the mystery. As dawn breaks, the team sets out to explore a previously undiscovered section of the city. They navigate through overgrown courtyards and crumbling archways, their excitement growing with each new discovery. Suddenly, Jack Hudson stumbles upon a hidden chamber beneath one of the temples. The team cautiously enters, their torches casting eerie shadows on the ancient walls. Inside, they find a series of intricate murals depicting a great battle between the city's inhabitants and a mysterious, otherworldly force. Dr. Alvarez studies the murals, her brow furrowed in concentration. She realizes that the city was not simply abandoned, but rather, its people were wiped out by a powerful entity that they had inadvertently summoned through their advanced spiritual practices. As the team delves deeper into the chamber, they discover an ancient artifact, a golden amulet with an intricate design. Professor Finch identifies it as a key to unlocking the city's greatest secret, a portal to another realm. Dr. Blackwell hesitates, torn between his thirst for knowledge and the growing sense of unease that permeates the chamber. Takuri pleads with them to leave the artifact untouched, warning that to remove it would unleash the very force that destroyed the city centuries ago. But the temptation proves too great. Dr. Blackwell reaches out and grasps the amulet, and in that instant, the chamber begins to shake violently. A blinding light emanates from the artifact, engulfing the team. When the light fades, the team finds themselves standing in a strange, otherworldly landscape. The sky is a swirling mass of colors, and the ground beneath their feet pulses with an eerie energy. They quickly realize that they have been transported to another realm, one that defies the laws of nature. Strange creatures flit through the air, and the landscape shifts and changes before their very eyes. As they try to make sense of their surroundings, a figure emerges from the mist. It is the spirit of a long-dead priest, the guardian of the city's secrets. He reveals to them the true nature of the city of Z. It was a gateway between worlds, a place where the veil between the physical and the spiritual was at its thinnest. The priest warns them that by removing the amulet, they have upset the delicate balance between the realms. The malevolent force that destroyed the city centuries ago has been unleashed once more, and it will stop at nothing to consume both worlds. As the team grapples with the gravity of their situation, they realize that they must find a way to stop the malevolent force and restore balance to the realms. The ancient priest offers them a glimmer of hope, revealing that there is a way to seal the portal and banish the entity back to its own dimension. However, the path to salvation is fraught with peril. The team must navigate through the strange, treacherous landscape of the otherworld, facing challenges and creatures beyond their wildest imaginations. Dr. Blackwell takes charge, using his knowledge of ancient civilizations to guide them through the alien realm. Jack Hudson's survival skills prove invaluable as they trek through bizarre forests and across shimmering, ethereal plains. As they journey deeper into the otherworld, they begin to uncover more about the nature of the malevolent force that threatens both realms. Dr. Alvarez discovers ancient texts that speak of an entity known as the Devourer, a being of pure darkness that feeds on the energy of living things. Professor Finch works tirelessly to decipher the texts, hoping to find a weakness in the Devourer's defenses. Takuri, drawing upon the wisdom of his ancestors, performs ancient rituals to protect the team and guide them towards their goal. The team faces numerous challenges along the way, from encounters with strange, hostile creatures to treacherous landscapes that seem to shift and change at will. They must rely on each other's strengths and trust in their collective knowledge to overcome each obstacle. As they near their destination, the Devourer becomes aware of their presence. The entity sends forth its minions, dark creatures of shadow and malice, to stop the team from reaching the portal. In a climactic battle, the team must confront the Devourer's forces, using all of their skills and knowledge to hold back the tide of darkness. Dr. Blackwell and Jack Hudson fight side by side, their weapons and wits tested to the limits. Dr. Alvarez and Professor Finch work to activate the ancient sealing mechanism, deciphering the complex symbols and incantations required to close the portal. Takuri, calling upon the spirits of his ancestors, creates a mystical barrier to protect them as they work. In a final, desperate push, the team succeeds in activating the sealing mechanism. The portal begins to close, and the Devourer's minions are pulled back into their own realm. The entity itself lets out a roar of fury as it is banished back to the darkness from whence it came. As the portal closes, the team is transported back to the physical world, finding themselves once again in the heart of the lost city of Z. The ancient priest appears before them, thanking them for their bravery and sacrifice. He reveals that the city of Z was not merely a gateway, but a guardian, created by an ancient civilization to protect the world from the dark forces that lurk beyond the veil. With the portal sealed and the Devourer banished, the city can finally rest, its purpose fulfilled. The team emerges from the jungle, forever changed by their experiences. They know that they have been a part of something greater than themselves, and that the lost city of Z will forever hold a special place in their hearts. As they share their story with the world, they inspire a new generation of explorers and adventurers, all seeking to uncover the mysteries that still lie hidden in the far corners of the earth. And though the lost city of Z may never be found again, its legacy lives on, a testament to the enduring power of human curiosity and the indomitable spirit of adventure. As the team returns to civilization, they find themselves grappling with the enormity of their discovery and the implications it holds for the world at large. Dr. Blackwell, forever changed by his experiences in the lost city of Z, becomes a vocal advocate for the preservation of indigenous cultures and the protection of the Amazon rainforest. He partners with Dr. Alvarez to establish a foundation dedicated to the study and conservation of the region's rich cultural heritage. They work tirelessly to raise awareness about the importance of preserving the knowledge and traditions of the native peoples, knowing that they hold the key to understanding the mysteries of the past. Jack Hudson, haunted by the battles he fought in the other world, retires from his life of adventure and seeks solace in the peace of the jungle. He establishes a small ecotourism lodge, guiding visitors through the beauty and wonder of the Amazon while sharing stories of his incredible journey. Professor Finch, driven by an insatiable curiosity, delves deeper into the study of ancient languages and symbology. He becomes a leading expert in the field, publishing numerous papers and books on the subject. His work helps to shed new light on the lost civilizations of the past and the secrets they left behind. Takuri, the wise native guide, returns to his village as a hero. He becomes a spiritual leader among his people, teaching them the importance of preserving their ancient traditions and living in harmony with the natural world. He knows that the jungle holds many more secrets, and he is determined to protect them for generations to come. As the years pass, the story of the lost city of Z becomes a legend, inspiring countless others to follow in the footsteps of the intrepid explorers. New expeditions are launched, each seeking to uncover the secrets of the ancient world and push the boundaries of human knowledge. But the true legacy of the lost city of Z lies not in the treasures it held or the mysteries it contained, but in the unbreakable bond forged between the members of the expedition team. They had faced the unknown together, standing united in the face of unimaginable danger, and emerged stronger for it. Their story becomes a testament to the power of friendship, the resilience of the human spirit, and the enduring allure of adventure. It serves as a reminder that, even in the darkest of times, hope and courage can be found in the most unlikely of places. As the world continues to change and evolve, the lessons learned in the heart of the Amazon remain as relevant as ever. The lost city of Z may have vanished back into the mists of time, but its impact on those who discovered it will never be forgotten. And so, the tale of Dr. Ethan Blackwell and his intrepid team of explorers becomes a part of the tapestry of human history, woven into the fabric of legend and myth. Their names are spoken with reverence by those who dare to dream of a world beyond the boundaries of the known, and their legacy endures as a beacon of inspiration for generations to come. In the end, the lost city of Z stands as a symbol of the indomitable human spirit, a reminder that, no matter how deep the jungle or how dark the night, there will always be those who are willing to light the way forward, to push back against the shadows and reach for the stars. Dr. Blackwell and Dr. Alvarez's foundation quickly gains international recognition for its groundbreaking work in the Amazon. They partner with universities and research institutions around the world, bringing together top minds in the fields of archaeology, anthropology, and conservation. Together, they launch a series of expeditions deep into the heart of the rainforest, each one seeking to uncover new insights into the ancient civilizations that once thrived in the region. They discover long-forgotten cities, hidden temples, and sprawling agricultural complexes, each one shedding new light on the sophistication and complexity of these lost cultures. As their work continues, Dr. Blackwell and Dr. Alvarez become increasingly convinced that the Amazon holds the key to understanding the rise and fall of human civilization itself. They believe that by studying the ways in which these ancient peoples lived in harmony with their environment, modern society can learn valuable lessons about sustainability, resilience, and the importance of preserving cultural heritage. Their research also brings them into contact with the indigenous tribes of the Amazon, many of whom still hold fast to the traditions and beliefs of their ancestors. Dr. Alvarez, in particular, becomes deeply involved in efforts to protect these communities from the encroachment of the modern world, fighting to preserve their way of life and ensure that their voices are heard on the global stage. Meanwhile, Jack Hudson's Ecotourism Lodge becomes a popular destination for adventurers and nature enthusiasts from around the world. Visitors come to experience the raw beauty of the Amazon and to hear firsthand the incredible story of the lost city of Z. Jack takes great pride in his work, knowing that he is helping to bring attention to the importance of preserving the rainforest and its indigenous cultures. He works closely with local communities, employing them as guides and staff, and using the profits from his business to fund conservation efforts and community development projects. Professor Finch, now a renowned scholar, continues to push the boundaries of his field, delving deeper into the mysteries of ancient languages and symbology. His work takes him to far-flung corners of the globe, from the dusty tombs of Egypt to the misty peaks of the Andes. He becomes increasingly convinced that the key to unlocking the secrets of the past lies not just in the study of individual cultures, but in understanding the ways in which they were interconnected. He begins to piece together a vast network of trade routes, migration patterns, and cultural exchange, tracing the flow of ideas and knowledge across continents and millennia. Takuri, the spiritual leader of his people, works tirelessly to keep the traditions of his ancestors alive in the face of an ever-changing world. He teaches the young people of his village the old ways, showing them how to live in harmony with the jungle and to respect the spirits that dwell within it. He also becomes an important voice in the global conservation movement, speaking out against the destruction of the rainforest and the exploitation of indigenous peoples. He travels the world, sharing his wisdom and his stories, and inspiring others to take up the fight to protect the natural world. As the years pass, the team's work takes on a new urgency as the pressures of the modern world begin to bear down on the Amazon. Deforestation, mining, and oil drilling threaten to destroy the delicate balance of the rainforest ecosystem, while climate change and the loss of biodiversity pose existential threats to the planet as a whole. But Dr. Blackwell and his team refuse to give up hope. They know that the lessons of the past hold the key to building a better future, and they are determined to do everything in their power to ensure that the legacy of the lost city of Z lives on. In the end, their story becomes a rallying cry for a new generation of explorers, scientists, and activists, all united in their determination to protect the wonders of the natural world and to build a more just and sustainable future for all. As the team's work in the Amazon continues to gain global attention, they find themselves at the center of a growing movement to protect the world's remaining wild places and the indigenous cultures that call them home. Dr. Blackwell and Dr. Alvarez become frequent speakers at international conferences and symposia, sharing their research and advocating for greater investment in conservation and cultural preservation. They work with governments and NGOs around the world to develop new policies and programs aimed at safeguarding the Amazon and other critical ecosystems. Their foundation also becomes a hub for scientific research and collaboration, attracting top scholars from a wide range of disciplines. They establish a state-of-the-art research center in the heart of the Amazon, equipped with the latest technology and staffed by a diverse team of experts. Here, scientists from around the world come to study the complex web of life that makes up the rainforest ecosystem, from the towering canopy to the dark, mysterious depths of the forest floor. They make groundbreaking discoveries about the intricate relationships between plants, animals, and microorganisms, and develop new strategies for protecting and restoring the forest. As their work progresses, Dr. Blackwell and Dr. Alvarez also become increasingly involved in efforts to support and empower the indigenous communities of the Amazon. They work with local leaders to develop sustainable economic alternatives to logging and mining, such as ecotourism, agroforestry, and the cultivation of non-timber forest products. They also help to establish schools and health clinics in remote villages, providing access to education and medical care for communities that have long been marginalized and forgotten. Through their efforts, they hope to build a new model for conservation and development, one that puts indigenous peoples at the center and values their traditional knowledge and way of life. Meanwhile, Professor Finch's research takes him in new and unexpected directions. As he delves deeper into the origins of ancient writing systems and symbology, he begins to uncover tantalizing clues about the nature of human consciousness itself. He becomes fascinated by the idea that the human mind is capable of tapping into a vast, interconnected web of knowledge and experience that transcends individual cultures and civilizations. He begins to explore the frontiers of neuroscience and psychology, seeking to understand the ways in which the human brain processes and stores information. His work leads him to develop new theories about the origins of language and the evolution of human cognition. He posits that the ability to create and manipulate symbols is a fundamental aspect of human intelligence, one that sets us apart from all other species on Earth. As he pursues these ideas further, Professor Finch begins to collaborate with researchers in fields as diverse as computer science, linguistics, and philosophy. Together, they work to develop new technologies and methodologies for studying the human mind and unlocking its vast potential. Jack Hudson, meanwhile, becomes increasingly involved in efforts to combat illegal logging and poaching in the Amazon. He works with local authorities and international organizations to develop new strategies for monitoring and protecting the forest, using his skills as a survival expert and his knowledge of the region to help track down criminals and bring them to justice. He also becomes a mentor to a new generation of eco-warriors, training them in the skills they need to survive in the jungle and fight for its protection. Through his work, he helps to build a network of activists and advocates across the Amazon, united in their determination to defend the forest and its peoples. Takuri, the spiritual leader of his people, continues to be a voice for the voiceless, speaking out against the destruction of the Amazon and the marginalization of indigenous communities. He becomes a global icon, a symbol of the fight to protect the natural world and the wisdom of traditional cultures. Through his teachings and his example, he inspires people around the world to reconnect with the earth and with each other, to find meaning and purpose in the simple act of living in harmony with the world around them. As the team's work continues to evolve and expand, they find themselves at the forefront of a global movement to reimagine the relationship between humans and the natural world. Dr. Blackwell and Dr. Alvarez's foundation becomes a model for a new kind of conservation organization, one that combines cutting-edge science with deep respect for indigenous knowledge and culture. They develop innovative programs that empower local communities to take the lead in protecting and managing their own natural resources, while also providing them with the tools and support they need to thrive in a rapidly changing world. Their work takes them to the far corners of the globe, from the icy reaches of the Arctic to the scorching deserts of Australia. They collaborate with indigenous peoples and local communities to develop sustainable livelihoods, protect critical habitats, and preserve traditional ways of life. Through their efforts, they begin to see a new vision for the future taking shape, one in which humans and nature are no longer seen as separate and opposing forces, but as deeply interconnected parts of a single living system. Professor Finch's research also takes on new dimensions, as he begins to explore the ways in which ancient wisdom and modern science can be brought together to solve some of the most pressing challenges of our time. He becomes increasingly interested in the concept of sacred ecology, the idea that the natural world is not just a collection of resources to be exploited, but a living, sacred entity with its own intrinsic value and intelligence. He begins to study the ways in which traditional cultures have understood and interacted with the environment, seeking to learn from their deep knowledge and respect for the natural world. His work leads him to develop new approaches to conservation and resource management that draw on both scientific knowledge and traditional ecological wisdom. He works with communities around the world to develop locally adapted solutions to environmental challenges, from restoring degraded landscapes to protecting endangered species. Through his research and teaching, Professor Finch helps to inspire a new generation of scholars and activists who are committed to bridging the divide between science and spirituality and to finding new ways of living in harmony with the earth. Jack Hudson's work in the Amazon also takes on new urgency, as the threats to the rainforest continue to mount. He becomes a key player in the fight against illegal logging and mining, working with local communities and international organizations to develop new strategies for protecting the forest and its peoples. He also becomes a leading voice in the campaign to recognize the rights of indigenous peoples to their ancestral lands and resources. He works with communities across the Amazon to map their territories, document their traditional knowledge and practices, and assert their legal rights to their lands. Through his efforts, Jack helps to build a powerful coalition of indigenous groups, environmentalists, and human rights advocates, all united in their determination to defend the Amazon and its peoples from the ravages of industrial development. Takuri's teachings also take on new resonance in a world that is increasingly searching for meaning and purpose beyond the confines of the material world. He becomes a sought-after speaker and teacher, traveling the world to share his wisdom and inspire others to reconnect with the sacred dimensions of life. He helps to create a global network of spiritual leaders and activists who are working to promote a new vision of human flourishing, one that is grounded in a deep sense of interconnectedness with all living beings and a profound respect for the mystery and beauty of the universe. As the team's work continues to evolve and expand, they begin to see the outlines of a new world taking shape, one in which the wisdom of the past and the knowledge of the present are brought together in service of a more just, sustainable, and compassionate future. And at the center of it all, the story of the lost city of Z remains a powerful symbol of the enduring human quest for meaning, purpose, and connection in a world that is always changing, always challenging us to grow and evolve. As the world continues to change and evolve at an ever-accelerating pace, the team's work takes on new dimensions and challenges. Dr. Blackwell and Dr. Alvarez find themselves at the center of a growing debate about the role of technology in conservation and development. As new tools and platforms emerge, from satellite imaging to artificial intelligence, they grapple with the question of how to harness these technologies for the greater good, while also respecting the rights and knowledge of indigenous peoples. They work to develop new models of participatory research and community-based conservation, in which local communities are not just the subjects of study, but active partners in the process of knowledge creation and decision-making. They help to build networks of indigenous researchers and scientists who are using their traditional knowledge and modern tools to monitor and protect their lands and resources. At the same time, they also find themselves grappling with the challenges of climate change and the accelerating loss of biodiversity around the world. They work to develop new strategies for building resilience and adapting to a rapidly changing environment, from restoring degraded ecosystems to promoting sustainable agriculture and renewable energy. Professor Finch's work also takes on new urgency in the face of these global challenges. He becomes increasingly convinced that the key to solving the world's most pressing problems lies not just in new technologies and policies, but in a fundamental shift in human consciousness and values. He begins to explore the ways in which ancient wisdom traditions and modern science can be brought together to create a new understanding of the nature of reality and the place of humans within it. He studies the insights of quantum physics and complexity theory, and explores their implications for our understanding of the interconnectedness of all things. Through his work, Professor Finch helps to inspire a new generation of thinkers and leaders who are committed to creating a more holistic and integrated approach to knowledge and action. He becomes a mentor to young scholars and activists around the world, helping them to develop the skills and perspectives they need to navigate the complex challenges of the 21st century. Jack Hudson's work in the Amazon also takes on new dimensions as the region becomes a flashpoint for global debates about the rights of indigenous peoples and the future of the planet. He becomes a leading voice in the fight against the expansion of industrial agriculture and extractive industries, which are threatening to destroy the rainforest and displace its peoples. He works with indigenous communities to develop new strategies for protecting their lands and asserting their rights, from mapping their territories using drones and satellites to filing legal challenges in national and international courts. He also becomes a key player in the global movement for environmental justice, working to hold corporations and governments accountable for their impact on the planet and its peoples. Takuri's teachings also take on new significance in a world that is increasingly divided and polarized. He becomes a voice for unity and compassion, reminding people of the deep interconnectedness of all living beings and the need for a new ethics of care and responsibility. He helps to create a global network of spiritual leaders and activists who are working to promote a new vision of human flourishing, one that is grounded in a deep sense of belonging to the earth and to each other. He becomes a teacher and a healer, helping people to find inner peace and purpose in a world that is often filled with chaos and confusion. As the team's work continues to evolve and expand, they begin to see the outlines of a new world taking shape, one in which the wisdom of the past and the knowledge of the present are brought together in service of a more just, sustainable, and compassionate future. And at the heart of it all, the story of the lost city of Z remains a powerful reminder of the enduring human quest for meaning and connection, and the need to always push beyond the boundaries of what is known and comfortable, in order to discover new possibilities and ways of being in the world. Story 4. The Forbidden City's Lost Manuscript. In the heart of Beijing, the Forbidden City stood as a testament to China's imperial past. Its towering walls and ornate architecture had witnessed the rise and fall of dynasties, and its halls held secrets that had been buried for centuries. Dr. Mei Ling, a brilliant Chinese-American historian, had always been fascinated by the Forbidden City. As a child, she had listened to her grandmother's stories about the imperial palace and the treasures it held. Now, as a renowned scholar, she had been granted unprecedented access to the city's archives. Mei Ling spent her days poring over ancient manuscripts and scrolls, searching for clues to unlock the mysteries of China's past. One day, as she was examining a faded map of the palace grounds, she noticed a peculiar symbol hidden in the corner. It was a small dragon, curled around a crescent moon. Intrigued, Mei Ling began to investigate further. She cross-referenced the symbol with other documents and discovered that it appeared in several other maps and manuscripts, always in a different location within the Forbidden City. As she delved deeper into her research, Mei Ling stumbled upon a cryptic message hidden within an old poem. It spoke of a lost manuscript that held the key to unlocking the dragon's secret. The poem hinted that the manuscript was hidden somewhere within the Forbidden City, in a room that had been sealed for centuries. Mei Ling knew she had to find this lost manuscript. She spent weeks exploring every corner of the Forbidden City, searching for clues that might lead her to the hidden room. Finally, in a forgotten corner of the palace, she discovered a small door hidden behind a tapestry. With trembling hands, Mei Ling pushed open the door and stepped into the room beyond. It was a small, dusty chamber filled with cobwebs and ancient artifacts. In the center of the room stood a pedestal upon which rested an ornate wooden box. Mei Ling approached the box and carefully lifted the lid. Inside, nestled on a bed of silk, was an ancient manuscript. Its pages were yellowed with age, but the ink was still clear and legible. As she began to read, Mei Ling realized that she had stumbled upon a shocking secret. The manuscript told the story of a young emperor who had been betrayed by his own family. In a desperate attempt to save his life, he had hidden a vast treasure within the walls of the Forbidden City, along with a map that would lead to its location. But the treasure was not just gold and jewels. According to the manuscript, it also contained a powerful artifact that had been passed down through generations of Chinese emperors. The artifact was said to grant its wielder unimaginable power and immortality. Mei Ling knew that she had to find this treasure before it fell into the wrong hands. She began to decipher the clues hidden within the manuscript, following a trail of riddles and cryptic messages that led her deeper into the heart of the Forbidden City. As she searched, Mei Ling realized that she was not alone in her quest. There were others who had learned of the treasure's existence and were determined to claim it for themselves. Some were ruthless criminals, willing to stop at nothing to get their hands on the artifact. Others were shadowy government agents, intent on using the treasure's power for their own ends. Mei Ling found herself caught in a web of intrigue and danger, dodging assassins and double-crossing allies as she raced to uncover the truth. She knew that the fate of China, and perhaps the world, hung in the balance. Finally, after months of searching and countless close calls, Mei Ling discovered the location of the hidden treasure. It was buried deep beneath the Forbidden City, in a chamber that had been sealed for centuries. With the help of a trusted friend, a former Chinese Special Forces operative named Li Wei, Mei Ling descended into the chamber. They battled their way past ancient traps and deadly guardians, until at last they reached the treasure room. There, amidst piles of gold and precious gems, they found the artifact. It was a small golden statue, no larger than a child's fist, but it radiated an aura of immense power. As Mei Ling reached out to take the artifact, she heard a voice behind her. It was one of the government agents who had been pursuing her, a ruthless man named Colonel Xiang. Xiang demanded that Mei Ling hand over the artifact, threatening to kill her and Li Wei if she refused. But Mei Ling knew that she could not let the artifact fall into Xiang's hands. She had seen the darkness in his heart and knew that he would use its power for evil. In a flash of movement, Li Wei tackled Xiang to the ground, giving Mei Ling the chance to grab the artifact. She held it aloft, feeling its power coursing through her veins. But as she turned to escape, Mei Ling saw that the chamber was starting to collapse around them. Ancient mechanisms, long dormant, had been triggered by their intrusion, and the walls were crumbling and cracking. Mei Ling and Li Wei raced for the exit, dodging falling stones and debris. Behind them, Xiang screamed in rage and frustration as he was buried beneath the rubble. Finally, Mei Ling and Li Wei emerged from the Forbidden City, battered and bruised but alive. In Mei Ling's hand, the artifact glowed with a soft, pulsing light. She knew that she could not keep the artifact for herself. Its power was too great, too dangerous. Instead, she knew she had to find a way to return it to its rightful place within the cosmos. With Li Wei by her side, Mei Ling embarked on a new quest to uncover the true nature of the artifact and find a way to restore balance to the world. She knew it would be a long and perilous journey, but she was ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. And so, the legend of the Forbidden City's lost manuscript passed into history, a tale of mystery and intrigue, of power and corruption, and of one woman's quest for truth in the face of overwhelming odds. As Mei Ling and Li Wei set out on their new journey, they knew they had to be cautious. The artifact's power had already attracted dangerous attention, and they couldn't risk it falling into the wrong hands. Their first stop was to consult with Mei Ling's old mentor, Professor Zhang, a renowned expert on ancient Chinese history and mythology. Professor Zhang was intrigued by the artifact and agreed to help them uncover its secrets. Through extensive research and analysis, they discovered that the artifact was not just a source of power, but also a key to unlocking an ancient portal between worlds. The portal, according to legend, led to a realm where the gods and immortals of Chinese mythology resided. Mei Ling and Li Wei knew they had to find this portal and return the artifact to its rightful place. But they also realized that they weren't the only ones searching for it. Other factions, both in China and abroad, had caught wind of the artifact's existence and were racing to claim it for themselves. As they traveled across China, following clues and battling adversaries, Mei Ling and Li Wei grew closer. What had begun as a partnership of necessity had blossomed into something deeper, a bond forged through shared danger and sacrifice. Their journey took them from the misty peaks of the Wudong Mountains to the desert oasis of Dunhuang, and finally to the lush valleys of Sichuan. In each place, they uncovered more pieces of the puzzle, more hints at the portal's location. But their enemies were closing in. Colonel Xiang, who had survived the collapse of the treasure chamber, was hot on their heels, determined to reclaim the artifact at any cost. And a shadowy international organization, known only as the Syndicate, had dispatched its own agents to intercept them. In a final, desperate gambit, Mei Ling and Li Wei made their way to the foot of Mount Amei, one of China's sacred mountains. There, in a hidden grotto, they found the portal's entrance. As they prepared to step through, Colonel Xiang and his men attacked, unleashing a hail of bullets. Li Wei was hit, his blood staining the ancient stones. With his last breath, he urged Mei Ling to go on without him, to fulfill their quest. With tears in her eyes, Mei Ling stepped through the portal, the artifact clutched to her chest. She found herself in a realm of mist and shadow, where towering figures loomed in the distance. She knew she was in the presence of the gods. With a heavy heart, Mei Ling approached the immortals and presented the artifact. They received it with solemn gratitude, acknowledging the sacrifices she and Li Wei had made to return it to its rightful place. As a reward for her bravery and dedication, the gods offered Mei Ling a choice. She could remain in their realm, as an immortal herself, or she could return to the mortal world, to continue her work and honor Li Wei's memory. Mei Ling chose to return. She knew that there was still much work to be done, many more secrets to uncover in the rich tapestry of China's history. And she knew that Li Wei would have wanted her to carry on, to use her knowledge and skills to make the world a better place. As she stepped back through the portal, Mei Ling felt a weight lift from her shoulders. The artifact was safe, the portal was sealed, and she had a new purpose in life. She returned to Beijing, to the Forbidden City where her journey had begun. There, in the quiet of her study, she began to write. She would tell the story of her adventure, of the lost manuscript and the immortal artifact, so that future generations might learn from her experiences. And as she wrote, Mei Ling could almost feel Li Wei's presence beside her, guiding her hand and whispering words of encouragement. Together, they had saved China, and perhaps the world, from a great darkness. And together, in spirit, they would continue to protect and serve, guardians of knowledge and seekers of truth, for all the days to come. Here is the continuation of the story. Years passed, and Mei Ling's tale of the Forbidden City's lost manuscript became a legend in its own right. Scholars and adventurers alike sought out the hidden corners of the imperial palace, hoping to uncover more of its secrets. But none could match the depth of knowledge and understanding that Mei Ling had achieved. As she continued her work, Mei Ling made groundbreaking discoveries that reshaped the world's understanding of Chinese history and culture. She unearthed ancient texts that shed new light on the lives of emperors and commoners alike, and she deciphered coded messages that revealed long-buried truths about China's past. But even as she achieved great renown, Mei Ling never forgot the lessons she had learned on her journey with Li Wei. She knew that knowledge, while powerful, could also be dangerous in the wrong hands. And so she worked tirelessly to ensure that the secrets she uncovered were used for the benefit of all, not just a select few. As the years turned into decades, Mei Ling became a mentor to a new generation of scholars and adventurers. She taught them the skills they would need to navigate the complex world of Chinese history and politics, and she instilled in them a deep respect for the power of knowledge. And always, she kept the memory of Li Wei close to her heart. She knew that without his bravery and sacrifice, she never would have completed her quest. And she knew that his spirit lived on, in the work she did and the lives she touched. In the end, Mei Ling's legacy was not just the lost manuscript or the immortal artifact. It was the countless lives she had changed, the minds she had opened, and the truths she had revealed. She had become a legend in her own right, a guardian of China's past and a beacon of hope for its future. And as she looked back on her long and eventful life, Mei Ling knew that she had fulfilled her purpose. She had unraveled the mysteries of the Forbidden City, and in doing so, she had found her own place in the grand tapestry of history. With a contented smile, Mei Ling closed her eyes and let the warm breeze carry her thoughts to distant shores. She had lived a life of adventure, love, and purpose, and she knew that her story would endure long after she was gone. For in the end, that was the true power of knowledge, the ability to inspire, to enlighten, and to transform. And that was a power that Mei Ling had wielded with grace, wisdom, and courage all the days of her life. As Mei Ling's reputation grew, so did the opportunities for groundbreaking research and thrilling adventures. Her unique blend of scholarly expertise and daring spirit made her a sought-after figure in the world of Chinese history and archaeology. One of her most notable discoveries came when she was invited to study a recently unearthed tomb from the Han Dynasty. The tomb belonged to a high-ranking official and was filled with exquisite artifacts and well-preserved documents. Mei Ling spent months meticulously cataloging and analyzing the contents, piecing together a detailed picture of life during this ancient era. Among the documents, Mei Ling found a series of encrypted scrolls that had baffled other scholars. Drawing on her experience with deciphering codes from her Forbidden City adventure, she set to work cracking the cipher. After weeks of painstaking effort, she revealed the scroll's contents, a detailed account of a secret diplomatic mission to the Roman Empire, shedding new light on the extent of ancient China's international relations. This discovery earned Mei Ling international acclaim and solidified her position as one of the world's leading experts on ancient Chinese history. It also caught the attention of a wealthy private collector who invited her to examine a strange artifact in his possession, a bronze mirror with intricate engravings that seemed to depict a map of the stars. Intrigued, Mei Ling accepted the invitation and soon found herself embroiled in a new mystery. She discovered that the mirror was linked to an ancient Chinese legend about a powerful celestial being known as the Sky Emperor. According to the legend, the Sky Emperor had once descended to Earth and bestowed a great gift upon a virtuous ruler, a mirror that granted the power to commune with the heavens. Mei Ling set out on a journey across China, following the clues etched into the mirror's surface. Her quest took her to remote temples, hidden grottos, and misty mountain peaks. as she pieced together the fragments of the legend. Along the way, she encountered rival scholars and shadowy figures who sought the mirror's power for their own ends. She also made new allies, including a young monk named Tao, who became her trusted companion and confidant. As Mei Ling delved deeper into the mystery, she realized that the mirror was not just a mythical artifact, but a key to understanding ancient China's sophisticated knowledge of astronomy and cosmology. She discovered that the ancient Chinese had made remarkably accurate observations of the stars and planets, and had developed complex models of the universe that rivaled those of other ancient civilizations. In the end, Mei Ling's journey led her to a remote observatory hidden high in the mountains, where ancient star charts and astronomical instruments had been preserved for centuries. There, she had a profound realization that the pursuit of knowledge and understanding was a universal human endeavor, transcending time and culture. With this newfound insight, Mei Ling returned to Beijing, determined to share her discoveries with the world. She published a groundbreaking book on ancient Chinese astronomy, which challenged long-held assumptions and opened up new avenues for research and collaboration. As she continued her work, Mei Ling knew that there were still countless mysteries waiting to be unraveled in the rich tapestry of China's past. But she also knew that the greatest discovery of all was the one she had made within herself. The realization that the pursuit of knowledge was a never-ending journey, full of wonder, challenges, and the constant possibility of transformation. Story 5. The Petra Prophecy. In the heart of Jordan, nestled within the ancient city of Petra, a young American linguist named Dr. Evelyn Blackwell embarked on a journey that would change her life forever. Evelyn had always been fascinated by the secrets of the past, and her expertise in ancient languages had brought her to this legendary site, where she hoped to uncover the mysteries hidden within its towering sandstone cliffs. Born and raised in Chicago, Evelyn had grown up with a deep love for history and a fierce determination to unravel the secrets of the ancients. Her parents, both respected scholars in their own right, had encouraged her passion from a young age, and Evelyn had thrown herself into her studies with a singular focus. Now, at the age of 32, Evelyn was one of the most respected linguists in her field. She had published numerous papers on ancient languages and had been invited to speak at conferences around the world. But despite her success, Evelyn had never lost her sense of wonder and curiosity. As she explored the winding canyons and carved facades of Petra, Evelyn couldn't help but feel a sense of awe and wonder. The ancient Nabateans who had built this city were master craftsmen, and their legacy could be seen in every intricate detail of the rock-cut architecture. The Nabateans were a mysterious people with a rich history and a complex system of beliefs. They had flourished in the desert for centuries, building a vast trading empire that stretched from the Red Sea to the Mediterranean. But the Nabateans were more than just merchants and traders. They were also skilled engineers and architects who had carved their city out of the living rock of the desert. Petra was a testament to their ingenuity and their artistry, with its soaring temples, intricate tombs, and elaborate water systems. As Evelyn delved deeper into the history of the Nabateans, she began to uncover hints of a darker side to their culture. There were whispers of secret rituals and hidden chambers, of powerful artifacts and ancient curses. Some even spoke of a prophecy, foretelling the rise of a great power that would one day threaten the world. Evelyn was here for more than just admiration. She had been sent by the university to investigate a recently discovered inscription that had baffled archaeologists. The inscription was located deep within the city, in a chamber that had been hidden for centuries. As Evelyn made her way through the narrow passageways, her heart raced with anticipation. When she finally reached the chamber, she found herself standing before a massive stone wall, covered in intricate carvings and symbols. The chamber was dimly lit, with flickering torches casting eerie shadows on the walls. The air was thick with the scent of dust and ancient secrets, and Evelyn could feel the weight of history pressing down upon her. Evelyn set to work, using her knowledge of ancient Nabatean script to decipher the inscription. As she worked, she couldn't shake the feeling that she was on the brink of something extraordinary. The symbols were unlike anything she had ever seen before, with strange curves and angles that seemed to defy explanation. As the hours ticked by, Evelyn lost herself in the work, her mind racing with possibilities. She cross-referenced the symbols with every text she could think of, searching for clues and connections. And then, after hours of painstaking analysis, she finally cracked the code. The inscription was a prophecy, foretelling the rise of a powerful doomsday cult that would bring about the end of days. According to the prophecy, the cult would emerge from the shadows when a series of signs appeared, including a blood moon and a great earthquake. Once these signs had come to pass, the cult would unleash a terrible power that would devastate the world. Evelyn felt a chill run down her spine as she read the words. She knew that she had to act fast if she was going to stop the cult from fulfilling their dark purpose. But as she turned to leave the chamber, she found herself face to face with a group of hooded figures, their eyes glinting with malice. The cult had been watching her all along, waiting for the moment when she would uncover their secret. They had no intention of letting her leave Petra alive. Evelyn knew that she was in for the fight of her life, but she was determined to stop the cult at any cost. Over the next few days, Evelyn found herself caught up in a dangerous game of cat and mouse. As she raced to uncover the cult's plans and find a way to stop them, she enlisted the help of a local guide named Kareem, who had grown up exploring the secrets of Petra. Kareem was a ruggedly handsome man in his late 30s, with a quick wit and a deep knowledge of the ancient city. He had been born and raised in the nearby village of Wadi Musa, and had spent his entire life exploring the caves and canyons of Petra. He knew every nook and cranny of the city, and had a sixth sense for danger that had saved his life on more than one occasion. At first, Evelyn was hesitant to trust Kareem. She had been burned by false allies before, and she wasn't about to let her guard down now. But as they worked together, she began to see a different side to the guide. He was brave and resourceful, with a fierce loyalty to his people and his heritage. Together, Evelyn and Kareem followed a trail of clues that led them deeper into the heart of the ancient city. They discovered hidden chambers and secret passageways, each one revealing a new piece of the puzzle. They battled their way through booby-trapped tombs and ancient caves, narrowly escaping death at every turn. As they explored, Evelyn and Kareem discovered that the cult's power was tied to a series of ancient artifacts that were hidden throughout Petra. Each artifact represented one of the signs mentioned in the prophecy, and if the cult managed to collect them all, they would have the power to bring about the end of the world. The first artifact was a blood-red ruby, said to have been forged in the fires of an ancient volcano. The second was a golden amulet, inscribed with the image of a great serpent. The third was a crystal skull, carved from a single block of pure quartz. Evelyn and Kareem knew that they had to find the artifacts before the cult did. But the cult was always one step ahead, leaving a trail of destruction and death in their wake. They seemed to have eyes and ears everywhere, and Evelyn couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched at every turn. As the days turned into weeks, Evelyn and Kareem grew closer, bonding over their shared love of history and their determination to stop the cult. They spent long nights poring over ancient texts and deciphering cryptic clues, fueled by a sense of urgency that grew with every passing day. In a final showdown deep within the heart of Petra, Evelyn and Kareem confronted the leader of the cult, a charismatic figure known only as the Prophet. The Prophet was a tall, imposing man with piercing blue eyes and a voice that seemed to resonate with power. He claimed to be the chosen one, destined to bring about the end of days and usher in a new era of darkness. The prophet revealed that he had been chosen by an ancient Nabatean god to fulfill the prophecy, and that nothing could stop him from completing his dark mission. He had spent years gathering followers and amassing power, all in preparation for this moment. But Evelyn refused to let him win. Drawing on all of her knowledge and courage, she challenged the prophet to a battle of wits, using the very prophecy that he claimed to serve against him. She pointed out the flaws in his logic and the inconsistencies in his interpretation of the ancient texts. In a moment of triumph, Evelyn proved that the prophecy was nothing more than a clever riddle, designed to test the wisdom of those who sought to unravel its secrets. The prophet's power was broken, and his followers scattered to the winds. With the cult's power broken and the artifacts safely in hand, Evelyn and Kareem emerged from Petra as heroes. They had saved the world from a terrible fate, and in doing so, they had unlocked the secrets of one of the greatest mysteries of the ancient world. As they rode off into the desert sunset, Evelyn knew that her adventure in Petra was only the beginning. There were still so many mysteries waiting to be explored, so many secrets waiting to be uncovered. And with Kareem by her side, she knew that she was ready for whatever challenges lay ahead. But even as they celebrated their victory, Evelyn couldn't shake the feeling that their journey was far from over. There were still so many unanswered questions, so many mysteries left to unravel. What other secrets lay hidden within the ancient city of Petra? And what other dark forces might be lurking in the shadows, waiting for their chance to strike? Only time would tell. But one thing was certain: Evelyn Blackwell would never stop searching for the truth. And with Kareem by her side, she knew that no mystery would ever be too great to solve. As Evelyn delved deeper into the history of the Nabateans, she discovered a rich tapestry of mythology and beliefs that had shaped their culture for centuries. The Nabateans were a deeply spiritual people, with a pantheon of gods and goddesses that governed every aspect of their lives. At the center of their religion was the god Dushara, the supreme deity of the Nabateans. Dushara was the god of the mountains and the protector of the city of Petra. He was often depicted as a block of stone or a bearded man, and his worship involved elaborate rituals and sacrifices. According to Nabatean mythology, Dushara had created the world from a great void, shaping the mountains and the deserts with his mighty hands. He had breathed life into the first humans and had given them the knowledge and skills they needed to survive in the harsh desert environment. But Dushara was not the only god the Nabateans worshipped. There was also Al-Uzza, the goddess of fertility and protection, who was often depicted as a lion or a woman with flowing hair. There was Alat, the mother goddess, who was associated with the sun and the moon. And there was Manet, the goddess of fate and destiny, who held the threads of human life in her hands. The Nabateans believed that these gods and goddesses watched over them from their celestial realms, guiding their actions and shaping their destinies. They built great temples and shrines in their honor, offering prayers and sacrifices to curry their favor. But there was one deity that stood apart from the rest, a shadowy figure known only as the Whisperer. The Whisperer was said to be an ancient and powerful being, older even than Dushara himself. He was the god of secrets and mysteries, the keeper of forbidden knowledge. According to legend, the Whisperer had once walked among the Nabateans, disguised as a mortal man. He had whispered secrets into the ears of the priests and the kings, promising them great power if they would only follow his teachings. Some had listened and had been granted strange and terrifying abilities. Others had refused and had been struck down by the Whisperer's wrath. As Evelyn studied the ancient texts and inscriptions, she began to uncover hints of a prophecy that had been handed down through the generations. The prophecy spoke of a time when the Whisperer would return, when his followers would rise up and claim their rightful place as the rulers of the world. The prophecy was said to be encoded in a series of ancient artifacts, hidden throughout the city of Petra. Each artifact represented one of the signs that would herald the Whisperer's return: a blood moon, a great earthquake, and a figure cloaked in darkness. Evelyn knew that she had to find these artifacts before the cult did. She had seen the destruction they were capable of, and she knew that they would stop at nothing to fulfill their dark purpose. As she and Kareem searched the city, they began to uncover more and more evidence of the cult's activities. They found hidden chambers and secret passages, each one filled with strange and unsettling artifacts. There were statues of the Whisperer, carved from black stone and adorned with precious gems. There were ancient texts, written in a language that Evelyn had never seen before. And there were dark altars, stained with the blood of countless sacrifices. Evelyn knew that she was running out of time. The signs of the prophecy were beginning to appear, and the cult was growing stronger every day. She had to find a way to stop them before it was too late. But even as she raced against the clock, Evelyn couldn't help but be drawn in by the mysteries of the Nabateans. Their gods and goddesses, their rituals and beliefs. They were all so different from anything she had ever encountered before. She found herself wondering what secrets they might have uncovered, what knowledge they might have possessed. In the end, it was this same curiosity that would prove to be Evelyn's greatest strength. By delving into the myths and legends of the Nabateans, she was able to uncover the true nature of the prophecy and the key to stopping the cult once and for all. The final showdown took place deep within the heart of Petra, in a hidden chamber that had been sealed for centuries. There, Evelyn and Karim confronted the prophet and his followers, armed with the knowledge and artifacts they had gathered along the way. In a battle that would be remembered for generations, Evelyn called upon the power of the Nabatean gods themselves. She invoked the name of Dushara, the protector of Petra, and channeled his strength into her own. She summoned the wisdom of Al-Uzza, the courage of Alat, and the cunning of Manat. And in the end, it was the Whisperer himself who was defeated. The prophet's power was broken, and his followers were scattered to the winds. The artifacts were destroyed, and the prophecy was revealed to be nothing more than a twisted lie. As Evelyn and Karim emerged from the chamber, victorious and exhausted, they knew that they had accomplished something truly remarkable. They had not only saved the world from a terrible fate, they had also uncovered the true legacy of the Nabateans. And as they rode off into the desert sunset, Evelyn knew that she would never forget the lessons she had learned in Petra. She had seen the power of myth and legend, the strength of faith and belief. And she had discovered that even in the darkest of times, there was always hope to be found. In the months following their triumph over the cult, Evelyn and Karim found themselves drawn to a new mystery that would take them far from the sandstone cliffs of Petra. A cryptic manuscript had surfaced in an antiquities market in Cairo, hinting at an even more ancient secret that stretched back to the earliest days of human civilization. The manuscript, written on fragile papyrus that seemed to whisper with centuries of hidden knowledge, contained fragments of a map and a series of astronomical calculations that didn't match any known historical system. Evelyn's linguistic expertise told her that the text was older than anything she had ever encountered, predating even the most ancient Nabatean inscriptions. Karim was skeptical at first. "After what we went through in Petra," he said, tracing his finger along the faded lines of the manuscript, "I'm not sure I want to chase another world-ending prophecy." But Evelyn's eyes sparkled with the familiar excitement of discovery. "This is different," she insisted. "These calculations, they're unlike anything in the historical record. They suggest a level of astronomical knowledge that shouldn't have existed thousands of years ago." Their research led them to the remote deserts of western Egypt, to a region few archaeologists had ever thoroughly explored. It was a landscape of endless sand and mysterious rock formations, where the boundary between myth and reality seemed to blur. As they journeyed deeper into the desert, Evelyn couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. Strange rock formations seemed to shift in the corner of her eye, and at night, the wind carried whispers that sounded almost like words in a language long forgotten. Karim, too, sensed something unusual. His local knowledge and instincts, which had saved them countless times in Petra, were on high alert. "These rocks," he murmured one evening as they set up camp, "they're not natural. Someone, or something, arranged them deliberately." Little did they know that their discovery would challenge everything humanity thought it knew about its own history. The manuscript was more than just a map. It was a key to a secret that had been buried for millennia, a secret that could rewrite the entire understanding of human civilization. As the first light of dawn broke over the desert, casting long shadows across the ancient landscape, Evelyn and Karim prepared to unravel a mystery that would make their adventure in Petra seem like mere prologue. The real journey was just beginning. As Evelyn and Karim studied the mysterious manuscript under the harsh desert sun, a sandstorm began to brew on the horizon. The wind picked up, carrying with it strange whispers that seemed to dance between reality and imagination. Karim noticed something peculiar about the rock formations around them. What had initially appeared to be random geological structures now seemed to form a deliberate pattern when viewed from a certain angle. He pulled out an old brass compass, its surface weathered by years of desert exploration, and began to take measurements. "Look," he said to Evelyn, pointing at the alignment of the rocks. "These aren't natural. They're positioned with mathematical precision." Evelyn's fingers traced the lines of the manuscript, her mind racing with possibilities. The astronomical calculations were unlike anything she had ever seen before, complex beyond the technological capabilities of ancient civilizations, yet clearly created by human hands. As the sandstorm drew closer, they quickly packed their equipment, but not before Evelyn carefully secured the manuscript in a protective case. Something told her this document was far more important than any archaeological find in recent history. Just as they prepared to seek shelter, a glint of metal caught Evelyn's eye. Partially buried in the sand, barely visible, was something that looked like an ancient artifact, something that definitely didn't belong in this remote desert landscape. "Kareem," she called out, brushing away the sand. "You're going to want to see this." The artifact was unlike anything Evelyn had ever encountered in her years of archaeological research. About the size of her palm, it appeared to be crafted from a metallic substance that seemed to shimmer and shift colors as she brushed away the sand. Its surface was covered in intricate geometric patterns that seemed to move subtly when viewed from different angles. The metal, if it could be called metal, had an unusual quality. It wasn't completely solid, almost appearing to have a liquid-like quality despite being firm to the touch. Intricate symbols were etched around its circumference, reminiscent of no known writing system Evelyn had ever studied. "This is impossible," she muttered, her fingers tracing the strange engravings. The artifact was unnaturally cool, despite being buried in the sun-baked desert sand. Small crystalline structures seemed to pulse faintly within its core, like tiny heartbeats of light. Kareem leaned closer, his experienced eyes widening. "I've explored these deserts my entire life," he said softly, "and I've never seen anything like this." The sandstorm was now approaching rapidly, its massive wall of swirling dust threatening to engulf them. But in that moment, Evelyn and Kareem were transfixed by the mysterious artifact, an object that seemed to challenge everything they knew about human history, technology, and perhaps even the nature of reality itself.